Good evening, and welcome to another bedtime story from the Complete Griselda by Oliver Dickinson. Tonight's story is Bad Example, which is the 13th story, and originally appeared in, Different Worlds 44 in 1986. So, if you've got yourself a drink, got a cup of tea, and you're sitting comfortably, I'll begin. Bad example. A guy like me, whose favourite occupation is hanging around, comes across unusual situations now and then. But one thing I never expect to see is a swell doll from one of the rich hill families poke her nose into loud Lilinas. Moreover, although this doll is dressed up in the latest style, she seems scarcely old enough to be let out on her own. And in fact, she is not. For with her comes an older doll, who is not so well dressed, and who must be her maid or companion or some such. Well, the young doll stands there looking around as if she never sees anything like this before, and the chances are that she does not. At that, and we are so surprised to see such a doll in Lalinas that the conversation, which is never too brisk at that time of the morning anyway, dies to nothing. And we all hear her ask Lena if this is the right place to meet the renowned Griselda. Well, Lena allows that Griselda may drop by at any moment and asks if the ladies will take anything while they wait. The young doll calls for a little wine, but her companion says no in such a tone as to make it clear that she has no wish to be there. In fact, she's acting most disgusted with the whole situation. And when Lilina shows them to the best seats, you can practically hear her making most uncomplimentary comments, though all she does is sniff. But the young doll seems to be getting a great bang out of everything, and I hear her say to the other, "Oh, Hilda, is this not exciting?" And when Hilda replies that she prefers her excitement in cleaner surroundings, the young doll laughs and says she has no soul. Excuse me. They sit there a while, and sweet-talking Seamus, who never passes up a chance to get in with rich dolls, tries to talk to them, but is frozen out most efficiently by Hilda. And anyone can see that she knows what time it is. In fact, not long after this, she suggests that they return home, but the young doll is most insistent they wait for Griselda, and says besides that she is finding it most exciting and romantic, and so forth. It is plain from her comments that she believes us all to be famous adventurers and hard cases and such, and furthermore that she has a great admiration for such characters. And clearly she has a bad case of whatever it is that afflicts young characters from legitimate background now and then, and leads them to suppose that breaking the law or chasing rainbows in the rubble are occupations worthy of much respect, and to make heroes of those who do such things. This Hilda doll is evidently meant to keep her on the straight and narrow, and points out to her that such persons are antisocial, and if we were a typical sample, it is not a paying proposition, and that while this can be seen as somewhat insulting to us, there is no doubt that she is right. Though the young doll, whose name proves to be Viridia, takes no notice. Just as Hilda is saying that they really ought to go, in comes Griselda, and Viridia bounces up to her almost at once and says, "I'm Viridia Petroma, and it will be a great privilege to buy you a drink. I hear so much about you, and I'm full of admiration." Now, Griselda is such a doll, or as always, has the dough to buy her own drinks, but never refuses a free one. So she sits down with them, and before long, is getting her ear chewed off with talk by Viridia, so that she barely has a chance to say yes or no. Viridia has much to say on how exciting it must be to go adventuring, and how life in her part of Pavis is really dull. And I think to myself that I can stand a little dullness if I get to live in style that she is accustomed to on Rich Hill. And from the way Hilda gives a little smile and shakes her head, I judge she is thinking the same. Then Viridia starts in to ask Griselda about her career, and it seems to me that Hilda starts taking more notice of the conversation. But before very long, she states firmly that they really must go, or Viridia's father will have the watch out coming Pavis for them. And this is very true, for the Petroma family carry a lot of weight in Pavis. But Viridia is plainly eager for more, and asks Griselda if they can meet again. And to my surprise, Griselda says yes. And they fix on 3 days from then. I'm surprised because ordinarily Griselda has no patience with hero worshippers, though this is the first female one she encounters, to my knowledge. But when they are gone, she gestures to me to come over and says, I want you to come with me when they show up again, and see if you can round up Hanufa too. This Viridia will drive me crazy if I'm stuck with her for long, so you ought to distract her with your tales and Hanufa too. For he's much better at lying about her experiences than I am, and can talk the ears off a troll anyway. Well, Griselda, I say, of course I'll see what I can do, but I do not understand why you are willing to see this Viridia again if she is apt to drive you crazy. I have my reasons, says Griselda shortly, and I leave the matter there, for Griselda does not like to be questioned about what she considers her business. So, when Viridia shows up in 3 days' time, still with Hilda riding her, there we all are. And Griselda introduces us, and before long, a fine time is being had by one and all, except Hilda, who sits on the edge looking proper, for though Hanufa and I may have no real wish to speak to Viridia, we have nothing else to do. And besides, we seldom get the chance to taste stuff of the quality that she is paying for. By and by, Griselda withdraws from the conversation, more or less, and I perceive she's trying to get to talking to Hilda. And finally they are talking quietly, but Hilda does not forget her responsibility and reminds Viridia when it is time to go. But she does not protest when Viridia makes another date. And though by this time I'm feeling all tuckered out from trying to answer 1,000 questions from Viridia, who is really surprisingly ignorant about life in general, and I will be happy if I never speak to her again. Griselda agrees, and includes us all in the party. And of course Hanufa and I know better than to say no to Griselda. So 3 days on, they are back again. And this time Griselda does not have much to say to Viridia, but seems to wish to converse with Hilda, who also seems to wish this. It's not too long before Viridia gets restless about this, and finally she leans across and says to Griselda, "Surely, if you speak to Hilda, you can speak to me. Will you not tell me a story of your exploits? I wish to hear one from your own lips." She speaks in such a way as it is clear she is used to getting whatever she wants, and thinks Griselda is bound to do as she wishes. Surprisingly, Griselda does not seem to resent this, but starts telling a story I never hear from her before. It is all about how she gets cut off from a bunch while investigating some caves, and wanders here and there, and escaping one peril after another, and until she disturbs a family of cave trolls who start chasing her. She tries everything she knows to throw them off, but they keep on, and finally she takes a wrong turn and winds up against a blank wall, with no place to hide, and all these trolls coming at her. She tells the story well, so that the whole joint winds up listening, and by this point she has Viridia on the edge of a seat, eyes and mouth wide open. Griselda stops to take a pull at a drink, and Viridia is so excited that she bursts out, "Whatever did he do?" Griselda smiles sweetly and spreads her hands and says, "What can I do? They eat me." Well, this is one of the oldest gags in the book, and most of us are expecting it by now, and the whole joint cracks up, and I notice Hilda is one of those who is laughing hardest. Viridia goes all red and jumps up, looking very mad, and she opens her mouth to let loose, but she catches Griselda's eye. For Griselda is not laughing, but gazing at her very calmly, and she must get the idea that it would be unwise to say whatever she has in mind, even if she is Viridia Petroma. So she just snaps, "Come, Hilda," and marches off. Hilda gets to her feet, wiping her eyes, and I hear her tell Griselda thanks for the best laugh she has in years. And also I hear Griselda say to her quite low, "Do not forget what I'm telling you now." Hilda's face gets serious, and she nods just a little. And then she hurries after Viridia, who starts bawling her out when they're barely through the door. It is plain they will not be back. And this is surely a relief to most of us, for Lena's will be nice and quiet in the mornings again. Now, a day or two later, Griselda is taking it her ease in Lena's when in comes a bunch of the watch, headed up by a Constable Georgia himself. He asks Griselda most sternly if she knows anything of the whereabouts of one Hilda, dependent of the Petroma family. "Why no," says Griselda. "How will I? I barely know her, only she comes in here a few times with Viridia Petroma. What is the beef?" "Well, never mind that," says Constable Georgia. "I guess we'll have to search the place and ask you unsavoury characters a few questions. And you, Griselda, are coming with me. I wish to look your place over. So off Griselda has to go, while the watch go through Lilina's and ask us questions, but of course they find nothing, and we can say no more than Griselda does. And they listen up enough to tell that Hilda disappears, and so does Viridio Petroma's jewellery box, and it is suspected in law enforcement circles that these events are connected. In a while, Griselda is back, looking none the worse, but she shakes her head in an answer to all questions and will not be drawn to speculate. So we have to drop the matter. But I notice that she is in an unusually good mood for the rest of the day, buying drinks and swapping gags and generally acting very relaxed. And maybe she imbibes a little too freely. For eventually, she takes me aside and says, "You're involved in this somewhat, and I suspect you hear what I say to Hilda when we part. But you keep your button lipped like a sensible guy, so I owe you one. And besides, I will burst if I do not tell someone who knows the background, though this must go no further. Naturally, I'm greatly intrigued, and swear to keep it an absolute secret, so you do not hear this from me." She takes me outside and well away from Lena's. And finally, as we are walking away along, she says, "That Hilda has plenty of moxies, all right, and I judge she will make a go of it in the adventuring dodge, now she has a stake." I spot that she's dissatisfied with her present situation, running around keeping that little cat out of trouble and taking all kinds of crap from her, no doubt. So I get to talking about what a doll can do. Maybe I'll drop a few hints about the most reliable fences in this town, and mention the name of a friend of mine who can be trusted. Though I swear I never suggest to her that she lifts this Viridio's jewellery or anything else. And of course I do nothing so foolish as to offer her a hideout, though I'm sure she will know where to go from one or two things I let fall. "That is certainly very interesting, Griselda," I say. "Does she give you anything for your trouble?" "Do you think I'm dumb?" says Griselda. "Dolls like Viridio know their jewellery boxes inside out, and if I'm caught with anything recognisable, it will not look good for me. No, I take nothing for Hilda. In fact, I am happy to give her a hand, for I have a great sympathy for dolls with the ability who are stuck in such situations. Besides, I make a little on the deal apart from the free drinks." "How is that?" "Oh, easy enough," she says. "I'll make a few inquiries and discover that old man Petrona may pay well to get his daughter cured of her infatuation with adventuring. It seems I do the trick all right, for he pays off yesterday and is happy to okay me with Constable Georgia. He is so relieved. For first, he's afraid I will set his daughter a bad example." Well, that was story number 13. I hope you enjoyed listening to that. I will come back with the next story, which is much longer and is called, let me see, Holding the Baby. All right, thank you for watching and listening, and I look forward to reading to you again.